And this is going to be a post. Now, for people who are web geeks, not me, they're going to say, oh, that looks familiar, because there's post, there's get, and there's a couple of other types of, I can't even think of the right term here.
Verbs.
Yeah, verbs. Okay, there's a couple of other verbs for doing requests. This is very much like a network request. In fact, it is basically a network request, but via the Facebook library or plugin. And then we pass a table, and the table has a number of named fields. And this is the simple direct post example. So all we're doing is posting a predefined message that says test Facebook using Graph Library. Now, I'm not going to go through each of these. What I want people to do is we're going to jump right into looking at how to create your Facebook app. And I want people to go after the show who don't already have one and create a Facebook app. Wait, set it up, do all the setup stuff, submit it, wait 1 or 2 days for it to be approved, or a week. I don't know what the process takes anymore. It took me 2 days to get mine approved when I did this. And then go back and build and run this example, filling in basically your app ID. And I should mention that you need to put your app ID at the top here. When people get this, there'll be a string throughout that says something to the effect of your app ID goes here or something like that. Replace that string with your app ID. And you're going to need to do it in main.lua and build settings. There's a number of places where you need to replace the Facebook app ID. For example, the bundle URL types, and it's going to be FB and then your app ID. And URL schemes, FB, and your app ID. And then Facebook app ID as a field in the plist. I mean, there's a number of things you have to fill in. Having done that, you should be able to directly run this, and then I'm going to show you this running, and then we will go look at the setting up your app on the developers Facebook developer site. So what you're seeing here, this window, is the output of my Nexus, and let me go ahead and hopefully run the right example. So I'm running this application here on my Nexus, so I'm going to click Login. And I get a pop-up on my thing. You can't see it. I'm going to click OK, confirm. And did we see something?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I can't look at both places at once. Okay,
Yeah.
Kind of boring. So, and then next what I'm going to do is this is my Facebook page. And we'll just okay, stop posting stuff, people. People are posting stuff. Okay, you're seeing stuff from my family. That's nice. All right, so I'm going to do a simple direct post. And you saw some activity in the logcat output there. So it says here, attempting to post message, something, something, is error false. That's good. Did complete should say true. I'm not sure why it didn't. But anyways, let's go ahead and there's my test Facebook using a graph library. So if you remember in the code, test Facebook post using graph library. So that successfully sent out a message. Then I'm going to do the complex post. And hopefully it doesn't. Sometimes you see if an application does multiple posts subsequent to each other, one of them may get blocked by Facebook. So this one worked. And as you can see, there's something wrong in my example. Either my PNG that I passed is typo. This should be an image here, and there should be this right here should say something, and it does not. So already I'm getting into trouble.
Hey, Ed.
Case
Yeah.
sensitivity.
I just wanted to ask, were you planning on talking at all? Oh, sorry, I'm hearing an echo of myself. Are you guys hearing that too?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
The problem probably is because... I'm sorry.
Were you going to mention the on the Facebook developer site, the Graph Explorer? Is this a tool that you've used?
I'm going to point out some of the resources on the
Okay,
site.
yeah, I just didn't want to. I'll post a link to it in the
Yeah,
thing.
do
It's a
post a
really,
link,
it's a
I'll
really
include-
great way to test out making requests,
right,
and to see, and it shows you the JSON data that it returns without actually posting to your Facebook wall.
Yeah, I couldn't find this when I was looking for it earlier.
It's not the most user-friendly thing, and it doesn't always. It's not an apples to apples with the Facebook plugin for Corona. But if you do a little bit of translation with it, it's a really good way of testing out API calls to see, particularly if you need to sort through the JSON data that it returns, you can see the table that it returns and sort of mess with it in advance.
Yeah, I have used this tool, or the older version of this tool. And basically what Jason has given us here is a link to a tool that lets us create a rudimentary request, see if it even worked, dig into the details of the output. And the benefit of this is that your only option, if you didn't have this tool, was to go make the request and do the logcat or look at the output in the log, and you'd be there all day trying to debug this. So,
it'll still take you all day using that tool, but at least it's one screen.
It will still take all day. You are correct, sir. Okay, so the only thing I was going to show was get friends, and
I want to interrupt about your possible problem with posting an image. Is because you're posting from resource directory, probably, because it's not a real directory and there's no actual files there. Maybe that's the problem.
Oh, I may need to copy the file over to documents first.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, that's probably it. Okay, I'll look into that after the show, and if so, I'll modify the code.
I see in the code it says RG period PNG, but they're all lowercase. But then on the status, it was all uppercase. That was weird. So
yeah, that just might be a thing they do.
I'm also curious, Ed, when you get a friends list, and I'm getting ahead of you a little bit, do you get the user's full friend list?
Okay. No, you can't.
Because you can't anymore, but you said you've been using your Facebook app ID for a while, and you used to be able to. I'm wondering if you have access to it because your app ID predates that change.
That's an excellent question, and Sergey was going to say no, but?
The proper get friends API only returns friends that are logged into your application, and this only.
But that was a change that I think is only a year to 18 months old. So if your app ID is older than that, you might have been grandfathered into that permission.
You're talking about the Me Friends list, right?
Mm-hmm. Because I remember when I was working on Social Poetry last year, at the start of that project, it would return a full friends list, and then Graph 2.0 came along.
Yeah, no, this
If you want to invite friends to your applications, there's another API. It's probably taggable friends, or I've been using invite dialog Facebook for showing to the user their friend lists and invite people there.
Excellent. Invite. I definitely need to look into that. I've done the feed dialog, but not the invite dialog.
Because if you're able to get a full friend list, that's awesome.
So you can request some sort. It's the taggable list. It's me taggable friends.
Invite dialog checks if user has ever installed Facebook app on mobile. So if Facebook friend doesn't have mobile phone, it doesn't show up there, and it prioritizes friends with higher online, I don't know, presence.
So that must be a joy to test, because you've got to install the application on your own device, then you got to get your friend to install it, then you've got to get the code written, and then you got to.
You can add fake friends. There's a tool.
Because that's what my list here
on developer's website.
Yeah, you can create basically dummy accounts that.
Okay. Well, I want to continue forward here. I really soaked up more of my time than I intended to. The point is, you can run this. You can run get friends, which will return a. Oh, I don't know why am I clicking on the simulator. This is what you get.
Is the screen blank for anybody else besides me?
Oh, no.
What?
I'm seeing it.
Okay, it's just me. Good. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Now that I hid my screen. Okay, let me try again. Can you see it? I don't think it's showing on the mini window. Anyways, okay, so the big list you saw here was getting the taggable list. I'm not going to do the feed dialog because you won't see anything over here. Let's go right to the Facebook developer page. Now, again, all of the links for all of this stuff are in the README files that come with the resources from today's talk. And you're looking at the advanced Facebook example under Roaming Gamer examples. All of these links here are going to be useful to you, and I have included the root for the developer Facebook page. Now, the way this works is, if you have a Facebook account, either it's as simple as logging in or making a simple request to get a developer's account. There wasn't much to it when I did it. This is the difficulty of doing discussions on how things work. If you did it 4 years ago, it doesn't work that way anymore. So you can't say for sure this is how it works. So as far as I know, if you have a Facebook account, you should either automatically have a developer's account or be able to request it simply by going to the site, logging into your Facebook account, and filling out some sort of a request. But I cannot imagine that this is too difficult.